just nature calls it at some stage, Matty, and I think that the coach said you're on in 5, so he's, as I said, nature's calling.
Just like in the theatre, on in 5, but we're back open in this final quarter. And the secondary bounce, we saw 5 just off at the moment, but from the point of view of this last quarter, the Dockers will be looking for more percentage again.
There's no doubt in that, and Port need to finish. It's been a really disappointing 3 quarters of football. They need to get some positives out of this game of football. They've trained all week to try and beat Port. That's not a good start.
No.
Turnover again.
Double turnover there. Boak. Wingard just lost his footing. McCarthy wrapped up by Ballantyne. Threw it.
He made an attempt, but he did throw it. Well, against Ballantyne on this occasion.
Kane Corn's still pretty sore in the middle of the ground, isn't he? He's starting to walk it off a little bit there, just to the left of the camera.
Kick up towards Westhoff, and that's a terrific take.
Well, we need to see more of that from Justin Westhoff. At his best, he's a really potent forward. Just haven't seen a lot of it. He's only his 2nd mark for the day.
That's a very low percentage kick to find but very tight on the boundary, though.
He's got that big left leg that he's a sneaky chance from here, and the wind will help, but very low percentage.
Well, that's how good Freo's defence is, because that's the only one-on-one they had. They had to go wide, because if they went to the top of the square, there was the ruckman, there was McPhee, there was Michael Johnson, Duffield.
There you have it. Very tight angle for Ebert. Gave it a good run. In fact, it was still in play. It's not now because it's been walked over the line. First score of the final quarter.
I'm sure Ross Lyon will be really stressing to his team that they have to run this game out and just keep putting the foot on the throat of Port Adelaide. The byproduct will be a good percentage win and push them up closer to the Kangaroos, but they need to finish this game off. If they're going to compete at the finals, they've got to have 4-quarter efforts.
McCarthy's high ball. Daniel Stewart waits underneath it, almost took the mark. Stephen Hill to clear. Caught on his right boot and floats it out to the line. And that's ping for deliberate.
Oh, that was just not a great kick.
It was just he caught on his right foot.
Yeah.
It was a mongrel.
It's a harsh one.
Ebert almost cut off by De Boer. Cassisi takes it, plays on, squares it to the top of the square, and McPhee, well, he dropped it. So did Spur. What can Port do? They deserve a goal. They kept the pressure up, and Trengove off the outside of the boot. Misses.
He tried to kick the quick check side off the right side of the boot, and here he is in a couple of steps. Just felt they had to go the check side rather than the drop punt. But again, just missing opportunities. 2 goals, 9 for Port Adelaide. Fremantle have missed their opportunities as well, but 9-9 sounds a lot better.
Kick wide. McPhee got boot to ball that time. It's a push against Thomas, and it'll be 50 metres.
Oh, he's lenient there, the umpire, because I think Thomas knew that he could be the only one that did push the play.
Yeah. Maybe the umpire felt that, well, it could have been close to in the side, so he did a bob each way.
A little chip kick from Hill to Spur, who puts it up very high himself. And mark not taken by 5, but it's still going in the right direction for Fremantle. And the bounce might just favour Main here. Jonas right with him. Let's take a look at that last one with Thomas.
That was the spoil. Here it is. That's a mark.
That's a mark.
That is a mark.
That's a very good mark.
Every day of the week.
No wonder he was bemused.
And I think that's why the umpire didn't pay the 50-metre penalty.
Correct weight.
Pavlich with a push off, trying to get it back. Moore, Cassisi. Mundy wraps him up, and we'll probably get a ball up, and we do.
What do both teams need out of this last quarter, Spud? I mean, Freo, do they put a target on goals, or is just sticking to the structures?
I think
they need to grind this out, don't they?
They need to grind out. Ross Lyon coach teams just keep to the structures, regardless of the scoreboard.
Mundy's kick across the face.
And I think that, you know, the scoreboard will hopefully tick over, and obviously Port, he doesn't want that to tick over. I think if I was Ross Lyon, I'd be saying, well, hopefully Port don't score. If we don't score, I'll wear that. But if Port happen to outscore us in this last quarter, I'll be pretty disappointed because our first 3 quarters have been outstanding. And Matty Primus, obviously, he'll be desperate to win this last quarter because they really haven't got too many positives out of this game at all. I think I'm looking at a couple of positives for Port. Probably Corns and Cassisi. They've probably spent a lot of time on Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill's been fairly quiet, so that's half a win. But there's not too many positives to come out of the game, to be brutally honest.
Fyfe, high ball up from the clearance. Dangerous time here for Port because Barlow's there. Bradley got it to Main, back to Pavlich. Now he screws it all the way back. 2 on 2. Clancy's up. Clancy's down with the ball.
Yeah, very good mark, but also it was the work off the ball from De Boer to just put a bit of body check on the Port Adelaide defender and just allow a nice little mark from Pearce.
Going for his second goal. Here's the jump in the replay box.
De Boer just edging his direct opponent under the ball. Yeah. It's nice work.
This for his second, as I mentioned. 20th disposal. He's become a really good player, Clancy Pearce. You wouldn't think he'd miss, and he doesn't because he's turned around and he's coming off.
And I would think we'll see Nat Fyfe come from the ground any minute now. He just was involved prior to this part of the play, and that was a really good kick from Pavlich. I mean, never going to kick a goal from that situation, but dragged the ball back off the square, so it's about 15, 20 metres out. And good position, and was justly rewarded, and they just stretched this lead out to a nice lead of 48 points. If they can stretch it out to about 70 by the end of the game, that'll be a good percentage booster.
Finally gets off the ground after kicking his second, and you're right, Alistair, they've got it to 48. If they can get it at 60, 70, up that sort of range, it's a great day out when you're away from home.
Absolutely, and we're about to go down to David King shortly, but there has been a substitution on the Fremantle bench.
There has, and I think it's Clancy Pearce that's been subbed out of this game. Lynchy, I'll come back to you in one moment.
That might have been why he's a little bit upset coming off.
Well, he's playing well. He's kicked. He's had the 20 disposals, 10 contested possessions.
No, it's not him.
Sonny Walters.
There, boys. Sorry, it's Michael Walters.
Yeah, Sonny Walters is off. As the ball goes in for Port Adelaide, a chance. McFarlane doesn't get a kind bounce, but he's back on it.
Yeah, the last thing Clancy wants to do is come off when you're wide hot. As I said, he's had a great game.
Mzungu spilt it. Moore comes up with it. Advantage. Now, it's good vision from Westhoff. Sees Pfeiffer. Over to Corns. Wouldn't have gone 15 anyway. Fyfe over the top. Corns played it well.
Yeah, he backed up from his mistake, and he'll dish this off.
He'll dish it off to the designated kicker in Pearce. 60 metres out. Lobs it up high to the square. Spoiled by McPhee. First to it. Well, there was 2 Dockers there. One was De Boer. Back to Roberton under pressure. Ibbotson. Thomas. Oh, Ebert just a little fumble. Doesn't do that very often. And the Dockers are happy to hold this in if they can. It's out now. Not for long.
Yeah, massive players there. And there we see young Walters just subbed out of the game.
Cameron Sutcliffe on, boys. A South Australian lad playing his 4th game today.
I'll be playing in front of his family and friends today.
Quick kick out of the pack. Right to the line. McFarlane and Stewart. Just to be home.
Just have a look at this handball. Corns has given it to Pearce before he'd actually even come around the back. So it was far too early. He needed to hold the ball and actually give it to Pearce once he'd actually started to face goals. He's still facing the opposition goals.
And as we've talked about all day, Freo like the high ball under pressure. Just plays into their hands.
Dockers go forward, and they've got plenty of players here. Sutcliffe straight into the action. Ballantyne peels back. Sutcliffe heads to the top of the square. Just a little bit short with the kick, and that's why Fyfe pushed. Wouldn't guard in the back.
Yeah, he just rushed that one a little bit, Sutcliffe. Obviously, a few nerves just coming onto the field.
Kick out wide by Boak.
Been another substitute come on, boys. That's Aaron Young with his first disposal of the day. Jackson Trengove substituted out of the game.
Paul Stewart with it now. Wheels around. He's got Brett Ebert on a long lead and found him. That's better.
His work rate today, Brett Ebert, has been the best forward. Why? Because he's moved. He's presented and he's led past the extra players from Freo. He hasn't accepted the fact that it's going to be a long day in the office. The ball's only come into our forward line 28 times. I'm going to provide a target. He's the one forward, I think, for Port can hold his head up high.
20 gone, Brett.
We need some goals here, Port. They're 2 goals 10. There's in danger of all sorts of records as far as lower scores. And that's going to stay out there and come back late. Well done. He's got 2 of the 3, and he gets some reward for that hard work.
Yeah, good. Spot on, Spud. He has worked really hard. He's taken the 5 marks, and he just the multiple leads, and this is exactly what he's done on this occasion as well. Pushed from the top of the goal square back, first lead. The second one's out on the 45-degree angle, and kicked it beautifully. He went at the left post, but just drew it back against the breeze and slotted it through nicely. So it need another 1 or 2 to have a 4 goals, which would be a good output, but he hasn't had too many opportunities.
Well, when you go in 28 times, normally the average is about 50, 55.
Yep.
He's kicked 2. As you talked about, his movement has been terrific. And that's what you want when you're under pressure, when you've got the ball outside forward 50. You want movement.
We get something happening here, Port, as Boak has it. It's all a little bit too late, and he gets 50, so have a shot at goal.
Now, there's no doubt Ross Lyon will be really disappointed with that. And as we saw there in the camera in the box there, understandably, he's filthy with that one. Back-to-back goals this will be.
It was Main.
May have been Main within that 5-metre arc.
Yeah. It was Chris Main trying to pick up his direct opponent, but he was 5 metres from Boak, which is the rule.
So Boak to kick from 40 metres out, directly in front. Needs it to come back. It may. Nope, it's the post again.
I think Main's coming straight off the ground to David King.
I think he's got a phone call waiting for him from upstairs. No, not just yet. Maybe waiting for the cameras to disappear.
Or if he was a bit more experienced, he'd go for a jog around the boundary line for a while and just give Ross a little time to take the steam out of the presentation that he's going to get shortly.
Just said, what are you doing? So I didn't hear it ring. I just took off.
Well, I got in trouble one day. Lee Matthews took me off the ground at the MCG, and I was handed the phone and I pulled it out of the socket and didn't go down well with the boss.
Because the ball came out.
There's Main. Ready to come back on. 40 points is the margin. Lobe took it out of the air. Young, the sub, into the game. As David mentioned, and now he's got another free kick.
They're out. John, move out.
Where to from here? He's just going to sit it to the top of the square or go deep into the pocket. That's cutting the angles off for everybody.
Look, the accidental elbow here.
Ooh, just trying to handball
McCarthy.
out.
Boys on the footy. Don't hold.
Lobe.
Justin Westhoff being held. Arms around.
There you go. Westhoff for a shot at goal.
The pressure builds eventually.
Yep.
And the Bronx cheers from the crowd. They're pretty happy with that one. And so would Justin Westhoff.
Michael Johnson asking the question of the umpire. He was asking, was it a hold? He said, yes, it was a hold. We'll have a look here to see if it was a hold.
Couldn't quite tell from that, but Westhoff is missed.
Oh.
And Johnson let him know, but Johnson ran into him and just...
Half-winded himself.
Yeah.
That's no good, that.
And then he wanted a free kick for it.
Here's the free now. I think his left arm gets in there, and Westhoff holds it in. So
he pitches it in. That's
not a free kick. That's great play from Westhoff.
Got him on the chin too.
Yeah.
There's dropped him.
Well, that's just a comedy of errors everywhere. And there's a good mark by Lobe. So Westhoff should never have missed that kick.
No, but he should never have got it.
No. Lobe, catch that.
Well,
there's a mongrel kick in as well, and McPhee to McFarlane.
He's a perfectionist, Ross Lyon. He'd be really disappointed in his first 15 minutes of the final term. This is just creating bad habits for form going forward.
Troy Chaplin.
Troy Chaplin got some free kick.
You're right, King. They've got some really tough games coming up, and the last thing they need to be, finishing a game where they've really dominated to allow Port a few extra inside 50s and a few lazy efforts.
A few free kicks too.
Yep.
And as we know, and we spoke about all day, when looking at the ladder, percentage is going to be a massive issue come round 23.
There's another free kick, is it? This time it's Fremantle's, it's Robertson's.
Well, the last 5 minutes has just been spent down in the left forward pocket. The forward pocket for Port Adelaide. They just haven't been able to capitalise enough on it.
Loby's in a good position again. Yeah, both hands to it. Wingard, Corns, quick hands from Logan, but sold his teammate. Jonas pops it up. Westhoff over the back. Boat gets it from Young off the outside of the boot. Dribbles it through. Clever goal from Travis Boak.
It's a great goal. You got reward for effort in this last quarter, and yeah, well done to Port. Ross Lyon might be too happy. 11 inside 50s to 3. Port Adelaide's favour. 2 goals 5. They've won the contested possession, so since half-time, their work rate around the coalface has been terrific. They've gone long to a contest. Great roving there from Boak. We're starting to finish the game off full of run. He's had the 20 disposals, 9 contested possessions, 5 inside 50s and 1 goal 1. But all too late.
Yeah, far too late it's been, but they certainly dominated the inside 50s in this quarter, which is a good sign, but just feel that Ross Lyon will be really disappointed with this. See the time in forward half dominated by Port Adelaide, 74% to 26.
Yeah, it's in this quarter. That's really disappointing.
Clearance support. Corns' kick out in front of Fyfe. Robinson's going to get him though. We'll keep your feet here. Well, Fyfe did, and that's a free kick in the back.
In the back, yeah.
For more.
Well, they're first to the ball. They're first to the ball. They're winning the free kicks. They deserve these free kicks.
This will be even more frustrating for the supporters and the coaching staff. The fact that they can play like this.
Ebert set it up, but didn't have enough on it. And De Boer was always in best position to mark it. He looks sideways quickly to give it to McPhee.
I think the real issue for Freo now, David King, is they're actually got too many numbers behind the ball. You see McPhee's got no one to kick to.
No, they've planned up a little bit down back and not playing brave at the moment, but their possession retention's really dropped away this quarter. They're not working with the same intensity they were in the first 3 terms.
Spur. Down the line he goes. Loby. Again. Sets it on its way, but no real tall timber there to mark it. Paul Stewart forced to go.
Good spoil over the line. But again, this ball is just sitting back down in this forward 50 for Port Adelaide. And Freo, as we said, just got massive numbers back there. And they've had the last 7 inside 50s, which is a real concern for Freo.
Yeah, as you say, there's lots of players around the ball. So Sutcliffe kicks it out towards the corridor. Now, he's the last man in line, Carlo. There's no one behind him. Port will send it back in, but there's plenty of dockers there. Oh, good work, Duffield.
Good, strong mark.
He's beaten Stewart.
Stewart had to be stronger in the contest there, Matty. You got to halve that contest. That has to, at worst, that should be a boundary throw-in. You cannot allow your defender to mark the ball in that area of the ground. And at some stage, you just got to find a way to be able to halve that contest.
A crash over the top. Chaplin was there, so too Loby.
Big Jonathan Griffin's just limped from the ground and just been assessed by the medical staff from Freo. They don't want another ruckman to go down. Just the lower limb, somewhere around the left knee, I think it was.
Well, Zach Clark was omitted. My reports was played really well in the waffle yesterday. That's what you want. You want pressure on for spots. Let's hope Griffin is okay.
Touched off the boot. Fyfe tries to keep it going forward. Mzungu to Bradley, clearing kick. But this is where Port have just been setting up a wall and just sending it back in. More. But they keep going to this pocket, Alistair.
And it's not working.
Have they changed jumpers at 3/4 time?
Well, they changed, into the same ones. They just took them off and put them back on again.
Well, they're butchering the ball, but it's just weight of numbers. I think that's the last 10 inside 50s have gone Port Adelaide's way.
What I'm saying, I guess, they've got to think, and let's go the other side, see what happens. They might have a shot at goal here from Boak, who's already kicked one in this quarter. 2-on-1 in the square. Guess who?
That's not a surprise. Luke McFarlane, one of the form defenders in the competition.
I reckon that's his 7th mark from opposition kicks today, Luke McFarlane. We just saw Griffin getting his right knee heavily bandaged there. Hopefully he's okay. That's out before, is it, mate?
Well, according to the Port fans, it is.
Yeah, it was line ball.
They've been called to play on.
In a minute.
Yeah. Kicks it up high. Westhoff took it.
Still, this is like Port in the first term. Just can't get the ball out of their half-back line.
Westhoff to reload. Ricochet back off at Fyfe. Pavlich, De Boer, Ballantyne.
They've got to be patient and run this one.
He might go a fair way here.
He's going to have to.
He might.
Well, that's clever. That's the only option he had to square it up.
Hill was chipping over the top. Sutcliffe.
Oh, he's paid 50.
Against Wingard. And so Sutcliffe, the sub, will have a shot at goal.
It'll be really interesting to see
it was
that
Aaron
replay.
Young, was it?
And he hasn't kicked a goal in AFL football.
Have a look at this. Now, when the mark is taken...
He ran through the mark, the teammate? No, teammate.
Oh, I don't know whether... The mark wasn't set.
He just
The mark
manned
wasn't
the mark.
set. He was about to come in and man the mark. It was against
They
the
just
other
swapped
player.
over.
Yeah, exactly.
That happens all the time. You hand over and I'll grab your man.
Sutcliffe kicks his first goal in AFL football against the flow for the Dockers.
Well, they needed that one just to take the pressure off. I think it was a very lucky free kick. We see, and Matty Prime's really disappointed. They've had all the play in this quarter down. Ball's been played.
Let's have a look, Alice. I don't think it's
Here's the
50.
mark. Now, what happens is the player running from half back for Port Adelaide gives away the free kick. Now, he goes in between the guy that was about to jump on the mark and the guy with the ball, but I'm not sure whether the mark was already set or not. I don't think it was set. He was still jogging in.
I'd love to know which player the umpire was talking to there.
Yeah, it wasn't against Wingard.
No, it wasn't. No, it was the other player.
Yeah, the 50 wasn't against Wingard.
Aaron Young then.
It was Young running through the line.
But he was following his direct opponent. He didn't break stride at all.
Now, and that's right, Wingard hadn't set the mark either. He hadn't actually taken the mark, so a little unlucky, but nevertheless, Freo get the goal.
And another clearance for Port Adelaide in this final quarter. Moore got it to Pearce. Everybody crashes into each other. Where does the ball finish up?
Knock it out.
Not yet, not coming out. And it's holding the ball. Freo ball.
More good news for Fremantle. Jonathan Griffin back on the ground. He's got that right knee heavily strapped. He's found himself at full forward now, so not sure if he'll do any more ruck duties for the day, but good news that he's back out there.
Now, that is good news. I think you have the cue well and truly in the rack at full forward.
Yeah, I think that means that Kepler Bradley will do all the ruck work for the rest of the game.
5 minutes remaining in the game. Margin is 39. Port have won the quarter. And they're working hard to try and get free, and Ibbotson runs Cassisi over the line. Here's Broadbent, just a little head clash again.
Another head clash.
It's Spur this time.
Don't block.
And he's got a cut just under the eye. And he just back into the contest. Here's Cassisi trying to get it free. Quick hands Westhoff. Just a hand in there means it doesn't get through to Corns.
Freo's season really starts effectively now. They've won the last 4 now. They've beaten Bulldogs, Melbourne, GWS and Port.
Yeah, they were the games that they looked to start the build.
But you got West Coast, Adelaide, Richmond, North, and they finished with Melbourne. So, really, I know that they're all worth 4 points, but they've won the last 4, which is terrific, but there's some really tough games coming up for them.
Those last 3 games will be in their own hands.
Yeah, if they get 13 wins, they'll get in.
Yeah. And the North Melbourne one's a mini-final, isn't it?
Well,
that's the spot they're vying for with Essendon.
Well, there's a little bit happening off the ball still.
Yeah, plenty going on late in the game.
Hold there.
It's amazing how the inside 50 discrepancy now. They're only 4 behind Port.
Yeah.
It was upwards of 20. It's 44 inside 50s to Freo and 40 to Port.
Only the 4-goal support.
Well, in the last quarter, Port Adelaide have had 18 inside 50s for 2 goals 5. Freo have been in 4 times for 2 majors.
Play on.
Bradley won it down, but it was sharked brilliantly by Ebert. Gave it over to Thomas. That wasn't the option for Thomas because Corns was swamped.
He was given no space whatsoever.
Well, in the end, Danny, it becomes a pretty poor win, doesn't it, really, when you look at how this game has played out in the last quarter. I think Ross Lyon were really disappointed with their efforts in this last 20 minutes.
Well, if you didn't see the game, David, you look at the inside 50 and say, gee, Port have put up a really spirited performance against a side playing in the finals or trying to get into the finals. But as we know, the first 3 quarters, they played all over Port. But yeah, it's amazing how 20 minutes of football can change a coach's mindset. I don't think it'll change Matty Primus's mindset of how they've played today, but it'll give Ross Lyon some ammunition going into next week's derby against West Coast.
There's 2 positives that have come out of the game. Is certainly the 4 points. They haven't got a massive percentage out of this, which they would have liked. And Nat Fyfe is the other one. I mean, the fact that he's got through the game pretty much now, has had the 26 disposals after, I think, 18 at half-time. So he has had a quiet-ish second half, but as you'd expect, he's probably blown up a little bit.
Carlisle not very happy about the kicking in danger free kick when the ball was in the air. Let's take a look. Here's... You don't see that very often.
No.
Ball's coming in for a marking contest, and he went with it with a boot. Thomas went past it. Young, good handball to Wingard. Now he's got nothing to kick to. Daniel Stewart, that's a clever kick from Wingard. He actually put it there and said, hey, turn around.
He pulled it.
Yep.
This is a good kick as well.
Yep.
It was quick ball movement.
No, it was a clever kick from Wingard.
Yeah, it was.
Like they've been doing most of the day, he was tempted, they've always been tempted when they go inside 50, just to blaze away and bang it as long as they can. And on that occasion, just pulled it and just gave Stewart a real advantage.
Westhoff missed an easy one in this last quarter. Can he make amends? I think he can. That's holding its line. Port get their 5th.
All you can do is play out the game. And Port, to their credit, they've been terrific in this last quarter. They've had the clearances 12-5, the inside 50s 19-4, 3 goals 5. It probably should be about a 6-goal quarter for Port.
Rossi would be really disappointed. That's 8 scoring shots to 2, and as you said, it should have been a lot more.
Yep.
Really disappointing from the Fremantle Dockers, but I mean, you'd say Port had to be a little pleased, but also frustrated.
Westhoff with the goal. The margin back to 33. It was 44 at three-quarter time. A couple of minutes to go in this game.
Yeah, just the margins just eased back to 33 points, and where it was at half-time, this is a respectable loss in the end for Port Adelaide. Really disappointing first half.
Sutcliffe got it out somehow to Mzungu. A hand in there by Wingard. Young again. He wins a free kick.
Yeah, it has been a little bit of a game of mistakes, isn't it? We just saw in there the centre bounce, 66 turnovers from each. So that's a lot. I think the average is about 45.
Corns has had plenty of the football. This is his 8th for the quarter.
And Port now are capitalising on some turnovers that Freo did. David King, the stat at 3 quarters.
Massive discrepancy.
Score sources at 3-quarter time was something like 6 goals, 6-3 behinds, and Port are getting reward for effort now.
Corns. Well, he sets it up and lets it ride through with the wind, and they're finishing the game strong.
It'd be hard to take him out of the votes.
He's had a good afternoon, Corns.
Club champion award. He's going to be right up there at the end of the season. Really consistent year for Kane Corns.
How loud do you reckon Freo will sing the song after the game? That's taking nothing away from Port's last quarter.
That's good.
They may even discuss not singing it.
It'll be
really disappointed with this the fade out, and down now to 27 points. We saw on the live ladder the gap was really closing up between Fremantle and North Melbourne. Really disappointing finish.
There you have it. And that live ladder's just come down 1%.
Yep.
We were edging to 108.
We're
under 107.
Yeah, they start at 105, so...
But the good thing is they'll get the 4 points, and they're still there.
Yeah, and Matty Primus can look at these players and say, boys, the work rate and effort we put in the last quarter is the bare minimum, not the first three quarters we served up. Because he will tell that maybe Freo took the foot off the pedal a bit, but...
Yeah, he might revisit that first quarter spray that he gave him, saying, well, all these things that we spoke about and the things that you put in place in the last quarter, where were they in the first quarter when the game was in the balance? There's a couple of Port supporters that are happy.
14,500 here this afternoon. Traditionally not a huge crowd between Port and Freo at AAMI. As Sutcliffe gets it back to Mundy, who throws it on the boot inside the last 30 seconds of the game. Pfeiffer and Logan share nothing really in the air.
What this will do is this will mean Fremantle have won their last 5 games against Port Adelaide, and that winning margin will be approximately 36 points. So they've dominated Port Adelaide in recent years.
Yeah, and they've won 3 of the last 4 here, which is against the norm. Carlisle just got the handball away. Give on the up to Westhoff. He's got a runner going past him, Pearce, who floats it up long. Almost a mark for Stewart. Broadbent. Paul Stewart. Young. Siren sounds. 4 points to Fremantle. A very good July for them. 4 wins in a row. They stay in touch with North Melbourne, but they're just behind a percentage. They're in 9th position, but they've travelled from home. They've won, but in the end, when we thought it may be heading towards 60 or 70, it was only 27.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll walk away from this in the cold light of day and realise they got the 4 points. It wasn't the margin they could have got it out to, but they've got 4 points. They'll get back on the plane, make sure their players are all fit, and really load up for a big finish to the season to push themselves up into finals contention and sneak into the 8.